Tim McGraw, who has been married for 27 years, is leaving. After Faith Hill received a dreadful diagnosis, the previously unstoppable country music sensation now has to make the most difficult decision of his life. Doctors conveyed the news that changed everything behind closed doors. Fans watched as Tim had several surgeries and cancelled events, but no one knew the reality. He has finally made the heartbreaking decision that is shattering hearts all around Nashville at the age of 57. It all began in a little Louisiana village for Tim McGraw. On May 1, 1967, he was born in Delhi. His mother, Betty D'Agostino, was a young waitress who was having financial difficulties. Prior to becoming a Major League Baseball star, his father, Tug McGraw, played in the minor leagues. However, Tim spent the majority of his early years without Tug. His mother, who relied on aid in food stamps, reared him alone. Tim thought Horace Smith, his stepfather, was his biological father for many years. Even his last name, Smith, was used. At the age of 11, that changed. In his mother's closet, he discovered his birth certificate one day when searching for a picture for a school project. Tug McGraw, not Horace Smith, was the name that was placed under father. His mother told Tim the truth when he questioned her about it. However, despite the evidence, Tug denied being his father. It wasn't until Tim reached 18 that Tug came clean. Their relationship became stronger over time and persisted until Tug's death from brain cancer. 2004, even before he was aware of his father's identity, Tim was naturally gifted at sports. He wanted to become a professional baseball player and was awarded a scholarship at Northeast Louisiana University. However, a knee injury altered everything. His baseball career was cut short before it ever started. He started making songs at that point. At a young age, he was exposed to country music by his stepfather. And now he was focused on that enthusiasm. In 1989, Tim relocated to Nashville on May 9. Country music icon Keith Whitley died on the same day. Tim lacked financial resources, relationships, and assurances. His dream was all he had. Many excellent vocalists were vying for fame in Nashville. Achieving success was not simple. It was his biological father who gave him his first major break. Despite not having been involved in Tim's early years, Tug McGraw unintentionally aided his son's professional development. In 1990, Tug showed a music executive Tim's demo cassette at a Philadelphia Phillies party. Curb Records acquired that recording on October 22, 1990. A record agreement was signed by Tim McGraw. At the age of 23, he was ambitious but still had a lot to prove. Getting a record deal did not ensure success. On April 20, 1993, Tim McGraw, his debut album, was released. It wasn't successful. Not one of its singles reached the top 40. The Holiday Inn didn't even chart the room. It was deemed awful by radio executives. Producer Byron Gallimore and Joe Diffie contributed to the album, but it wasn't enough to have an effect. The tunes weren't memorable, and Tim's voice was criticized for being too weak. That was a hard strike. His career might end before it ever began, he feared. Tim was not going to give up in spite of the failure. He needed to do better. Working closely with Byron Gallimore, he took charge of his next album, Not a Moment Too Soon. He made sure the song this time showed his true self. He didn't try to be Vince Gill or George Strait, but he didn't have their voice. Rather, he thrust himself into his own voice. Simple, genuine, and honest. McGraw became a household name when his second album, which came out in 1994, not only topped the country albums and Billboard 200 charts. He was ranked alongside Alan Jackson and Garth Brooks when the record sold over 6 million copies. Hardly anyone had heard of him even a year before. He was now leading sold-out tours throughout North America. Indian Outlaw, the album's first single, which was released in February 1994, was a major factor in its popularity. The song was well-liked by fans due to its catchy tempo and rebellious vibe. It rose to the 8th position on the Billboard Hot Country Songs list, and even made it to the 15th spot on the Billboard Hot 100. However, it also generated a significant dispute. The song was accused by several Native American organizations of utilizing damaging stereotypes. The lyrics about tom-toms and wigwams seemed obsolete, and critics claimed that they capitalized on antiquated Hollywood cliches. They demanded a boycott from the National Coalition of Racism in Sports and Media. The song was banned by 2 Minneapolis radio stations following listener complaints. Nobody was in agreement. McGraw had some Native American admirers that came to his shows and showed their support. The Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians vice chief, Gerard Parker, even wrote McGraw a letter stating that he didn't mind the song. McGraw acknowledged that it was a humorous song, but he could see why some people were offended. He continued to perform it, and the uproar only made it more popular. Next was Don't Take the Girl, which came out in March 1994. In contrast to Indian Outlaw, it was the exact reverse. It was a very emotional ballad rather than a cheerful, light-hearted song. 3 related tales were conveyed in the song. First, about a little boy who refused to let a female go on his fishing excursion, then, about a man who begged a thief not to harm her, and last, about the same man who prayed while she fought to avoid death during childbirth. The song resonated with listeners. It became McGraw's first number-topping single when it peaked at number 1 on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart on May 28, 1994. Its popularity extended beyond country music, as seen by its peak at number 17 on the Hot 100. The song was commended by critics for its authenticity and narrative. It revealed another aspect of McGraw. He was more than just a singer who could produce catchy tunes. His songs were emotive and honest, and they had the power to affect people. His greatest strength turned out to be that equilibrium. By the end of 1994, it was impossible to stop too soon. Album of the Year and Top New Male Vocalist were 2 of the album's major ACM honors. It was voted the best country album of the year by Billboard. 2 number 1 songs were among its 5 successful singles. After nearly losing his record deal, McGraw rose to prominence in the country music industry. And this was just the start. There was more to Tim McGraw's 1990s success than just his popular songs. Reaching consumers outside of country music's typical fan base and reinventing the genre were the goals. The albums Everywhere, 1997, and A Place in the Sun, 1999, were crucial to this change. These records weren't only hits. They redefined the possibilities of country music. McGraw released his 4th studio album, Everywhere, on June 3, 1997. His music gained a broader appeal as a result of the smoother, more crossover-friendly tone it brought. 4 of the 6 singles from the album went on to become number 1 successes. The Simple Act of Seeing You Smile Is Your Love Everywhere. Where the Green Grass Grows was the number 1 song on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. Out of all the songs, one stood out. Just to See You Smile was on the chart for an unprecedented 42 weeks. And was listed as the 1998 top country song by Billboard. This degree of achievement demonstrated it. McGraw dominated country music in addition to being well-liked. A Place in the Sun went even farther 2 years later on May 4, 1999. My Best Friend, Something Like That, and Please Remember Me were among the album's 5 top singles. In the US, it sold more than 4 million copies, and McGraw took home the CMA Award for Album of the Year. To demonstrate that his popularity extended beyond sales, he was also awarded Male Vocalist of the Year. His impact on the genre was acknowledged by both industry leaders and critics. Beyond the realm of country music, one song from Everywhere had an impact. The duet It's Your Love with Faith Hill became a pivotal song in the artist's career. Released in 1997, the song, which was written by Stephanie Smith, shot to the top of the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart and remained there for 6 weeks. An uncommon accomplishment for a country song at the time, it also made it into the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100. Its personal meaning, however, was what added even greater significance. While filming the music video, McGraw and Hill were newlywed and Hill was expecting their first child. The song seemed genuine because of that real-life connection. The industry and fans both adored it. It was nominated for 2 Grammys and won the ACM and CMA Awards for Vocal Event of the Year. One of McGraw's most well-known songs, it sold over 2 million copies. His ability to write songs that transcended country music while remaining loyal to his roots was demonstrated. McGraw's influence, however, extended beyond music. He began a charity event called Swampstock in 1994, which quickly expanded beyond his wildest expectations. It began as a simple softball game to generate funds for Rayville, Louisiana, his hometown's Little League activities. But the event expanded along with McGraw's notoriety. It evolved into a yearly custom, bringing in more than 11,000 visitors annually. Big-name performers performed during Swampstock's concerts in addition to the softball game. The funds earned supported college scholarships for local children, equipment purchases, and the construction of additional Little League grounds. This was more than just a matter of giving back to McGraw. It had a personal touch. Having grown up in Delhi, Louisiana, he was aware of the hardships that small-town life presents. Using Swampstock was a practical approach to change things. And it went further than that. He has contributed to Musicares, which helps musicians in need, and benefit concerts for Hurricane Katrina assistance, among other charitable endeavors, over the years. Tim McGraw never considered acting to be a side gig. He approached it with the same commitment that made him a country music sensation right from the beginning. His role as Charles Billingsley, a disturbed and violent father, was his major breakthrough in the 2004 film Friday Night Lights. His music gave audiences a clear-cut image, but this part was nothing like that. Critics took note of it because it was honest and passionate. The unexpected fury of his performance was commended by the Dallas Observer. One of the most prestigious sports dramas of its era, the movie brought in over $60 million worldwide. 5 years later, McGraw showed that he was capable of more than only playing gruff, irate parts. In the 2009 film The Blind Side, he portrayed Michael O'Hare's kind and encouraging adoptive father, Sean Tutti. He added warmth and passion to the part while co-starring with Sandra Bullock. The film became a huge smash. On a budget of $29 million, it made $309 million. Among the highest-grossing sports dramas ever made, it solidified McGraw's reputation in Hollywood. Then came 1883, the prelude to Yellowstone, which really elevated his acting career. McGraw's portrayal of James Dutton, a Civil War veteran who was guiding his family west, was both poignant and harsh. The show was acclaimed for its compelling tale and ran from December 2021 to February 2022. The fact that Faith Hill, his real-life wife, portrayed his on-screen husband added to the authenticity of their relationship. McGraw persisted in advancing in Hollywood. He portrayed the spouse of a struggling singer in the 2010 film Country Strong. In 2015, he played a NASA engineer in Tomorrowland. He never ceased searching for challenging parts despite having a busy music career. His rise from country music icon to well-respected actor was quite astounding. However, McGraw shocked supporters with a decision in January 2025. He resigned from a planned Netflix rodeo series because of health issues. He was initially slated to produce and appear in the production, and he was eager to experience the competitive world of professional bull riding. He was a fantastic fit for his role as an experienced champion taking on a youthful, brave opponent. But in August 2024, after having orthopedic surgery on both knees and back surgery, he found the job was too physically taxing. He was already forced to postpone the remainder of his 2024 tour due to his health, making it hard to continue with the series. Despite the disappointment of the fans, the decision made one thing very apparent. Acting and performing for years had worn McGraw's body down. Recasting talks are already in progress, despite the Netflix series' uncertain future. Although it was difficult for someone as committed as McGraw to abandon such a significant endeavor, it served as a reminder that even the most diligent artists must prioritize their health. Unexpected things have constantly happened in McGraw's career. One of his most audacious decisions to date was collaborating with rapper Nelly on the song Over and Over in 2004. It was practically unheard of at the time to combine hip-hop with country music. McGraw believed in the song, and they proceeded with it against the misgivings of even Nelly's record label. The song, which McGraw recorded in Los Angeles while touring with Faith Hill, became an immediate hit. It peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and at the top of the UK, Ireland, and Australian charts. The addition of emotional depth by McGraw's vocals was complimented by critics, merging flawlessly with the reflective words of Nelly. Although Tim McGraw's career has seen many significant events, Live Like You Were Dying sticks out as a turning point. The album had an instant impact after its August 24, 2004 release. It sold 766,000 copies in its first week of release and debuted at the top of the Billboard 200. It was certified 4 times platinum over time, demonstrating how well it connected with fans. The album had a raw and emotional atmosphere because it was recorded in an upstate New York studio above a mountain. The title track evolved into something far more than a single hit. Motivated by the death of Tug McGraw, McGraw's father, it resonated with millions of people. It spent 7 weeks at the top of the Billboard Hot Country Songs list. It then made its way to the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 29. It took home the Best Male Country Vocal Performance and Best Country Song Awards at the 47th Annual Grammy Awards. It was selected the Top Country Song of 2004 by Billboard and the Top Country Song of the Last 50 Years by Country Aircheck in January 2024. The album, which peaked at number 1 with its nostalgic look at simpler times, also generated other big successes. With a more sentimental approach, My Old Friend reached its highest ranking at number 6. From happiness to introspection, each song reflected a distinct aspect of life. This was one of McGraw's most significant albums because of its poignant lyrics and catchy tunes. After 20 years, McGraw is still changing. In March 2025, he reissued Paper Umbrellas, a duet with Parker McCullum, from his 2023 album Standing Room Only. By fusing his neo-traditional style with McGraw's distinctive sound, the up-and-coming country music sensation gave the song a new lease on life. With its blend of traditional country storytelling and tropical instrumentation, the song quickly became a favorite. The song has emotional depth beneath its laid-back atmosphere because to the lyrics, which read, "Paper umbrellas look good on top, but they won't stop the rain." Drake Milligan and Monty Criswell wrote the song, which had a timeless yet contemporary feel. The collaboration was hailed by fans as one of McGraw's greatest in a long time. At the age of 57, McGraw is maintaining his connections in addition to his relevance. His most recent endeavor involves more than simply studio labor, it involves live performances that give his songs a deeper significance. At the Field of Dreams location in Dyersville, Iowa, he will perform as the main act at a special concert on August 30, 2025. Not just another show, this event is. On the occasion of his father's 81st birthday, it is a celebration of his memory. The Field of Dreams location is renowned. It served as the backdrop for the 1989 baseball classic, which starred Kevin Costner, and has since come to represent family ties and nostalgia. The 193-acre farm has long been a popular destination for baseball enthusiasts. Now, it will combine country music with film history to present a live music event for the first time. The U.S. is organizing the performance. StubHub in collaboration with USCA, a concert agency. Tickets for the January 20th pre-sale sold out within minutes of its announcement. One of country music's most memorable love stories is that of Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. Despite meeting in 1994, they didn't start dating until 1996. They went on a joint tour that year, performing night after night on the road for months. During the tour, McGraw became certain that he wanted to wed Hill. However, gaining her favor wasn't simple. He made several proposals, but Hill wasn't convinced. The prospect of committing to a relationship with another country artist made her pause because she was already engaged to someone else when the tour began. But McGraw persisted. He made another attempt at the Grand Junction, Colorado, Country Jam Festival on June 26, 1996. He turned to her and said, "I'm really serious," while they were backstage in a trailer. "I'd like you to wed me." Hill didn't respond with a yes, but he did laugh now. McGraw was uncertain about her response as she took the stage to perform. However, he noticed it scribbled on the mirror in red lipstick when he got back to his dressing room. "Sure, I'll be your wife. Then I'll kiss you on the lips." At that point, everything changed. On October 6, 1996, a few months later, they were married, starting a decades-long life together. They still keep that mirror, which serves as a reminder of the night their future was decided. Family always came first, even in the face of professional responsibilities. They had 3 daughters, Audrey, born on December 6, 2001, Maggie, born on August 12, 1998, and Gracie, born on May 5, 1997. Despite the challenges of being country music celebrities, they made sure their kids were raised with solid morals. Tim McGraw has performed on stage and toured continuously for decades, and playing physically taxing parts in TV shows and movies. His physique has suffered as a result. In order to continue, he has had several surgeries throughout the years. He has had to endure 2 surgeries since his knees have been the most problematic. Additionally, he needed medical attention for fractures to 3 of his feet. Surgery was also required for his elbow. He had to have orthopedic surgery on both of his knees in 2024 after suffering injuries during a tour. Several musical dates were canceled as a result. In early 2025, he underwent back surgery. He was forced to leave a Netflix rodeo series that featured strenuous bull riding scenes due to the recuperation process. These injuries altered McGraw's fitness philosophy. Running had always been a part of his fitness regimen. But that was out of the question after years of deterioration. Rather than slowing down, he modified his routine. He refused to allow the failures to define him and instead concentrated on exercises that were less taxing on his body. McGraw had another incident that made him re-evaluate his health long before these surgeries. When his daughter, Gracie, who was 11 at the time, pointed out that he weighed 215 pounds in 2008, he realized how much he had changed. As she watched the trailer for his film, For Christmases, she made a remark about his appearance. It struck him hard. It brought home to him how far he had fallen from his childhood athleticism. He was determined to change, so he stopped eating burgers, alcohol, and the unhealthy road food that had long been a part of his life. He increased to running and weight training after beginning slowly with easy exercises like walking. He had lost 40 pounds in 2 years. For McGraw, however, this metamorphosis went beyond simply losing weight. Feeling better, giving his best effort, and having the stamina to enjoy life with his family were the main goals. Another pivotal moment came in 2008 when I gave up alcohol. McGraw has been candid about the impact that drinking had on his career and personal life. He once worried that everything he had, his family, his relationships, and his career, would be lost if he didn't stop. He made the decision to stop drinking with the help of his wife, Faith Hill, and their kids. Though difficult at first, he eventually realized the advantages. His sobriety improved his focus, clarity, and understanding of what was most important. Faith Hill has experienced health issues of her own. To address a problem that had been bothering her for years, she had neck surgery in 2022. The first time was not this time. The same procedure was performed on her in 2011. Anterior cervical discectomy infusion is the procedure used to treat pain from nerve compression or a herniated disc. Surgery was required for Hill because of a long-standing injury that had gradually gotten worse. She attended the Oscars shortly after the procedure. As soon as fans observed a slight scar on her neck, conjecture began. Exaggerated reports that she was suffering from a terrible ailment or that the surgery had been life-threatening were circulated by some tabloids. Sources close to her swiftly refuted the accusations, though. The truth was that she needed time to heal. To stabilize her spine, the treatment entailed fusing the adjacent vertebrae and removing a damaged disc. Careful mobility and months of physical treatment were necessary. She had to modify her performances to prevent overtaxing her body even after she recovered. However, she didn't let it deter her. During their Soul to Soul tour, she and McGraw discovered methods to continue performing while taking care of her health. Tim McGraw's career has been a combination of difficult struggles and enormous triumph. Indian Outlaw, one of his songs, became a huge hit in 1994. He became famous because it was on his album Not a Moment Too Soon. The song quickly rose to the top of the charts, nearly matching Billy Ray Cyrus' Achy Breaky Heart. While its vitality was adored by fans, Native American tribes did not. Phrases like "whom I'll be beating on my tom-tom" and "you can find me in my wig" seemed less like a true homage and more like an old Hollywood cliché. The criticism came quickly. Radio stations were pressured by the media and the National Coalition of Racism in Sports to stop playing it. Some did. It was condemned by prominent activist Wabun Anini for using tropes and tribal beats, calling it cheap Hollywood music. Wilma Mankiller, the Cherokee Nation's first female chief, even voiced her opposition to it. McGraw defended the song, claiming it was intended to be enjoyable rather than offensive. In fact, several Native American fans asked for it on reservation radio stations, he noted. The dispute persisted, though. It provoked more extensive discussions regarding the cultural representations of country music. It was McGraw's first experience with significant public attention. But that wouldn't be the end of it. His shows got wilder as he gained more notoriety. Not only did he sing on stage, but he was also in charge and kept things under control. Auburn, Washington, saw one of the most talked about events. When he noticed a man in the front row assaulting a woman, he was acting like an Indian bandit. McGraw didn't think twice. Before dragging the man onto the stage and turning him over to the police, he summoned security. He appeared prepared to punch if needed, according to witnesses. The crowd applauded. At his shows, they perceived him as someone who would not put up with mistreatment. His involvement in crowd drama was not unique to this instance. While singing "Where the Green Grass Grows" at a concert in Reno, Nevada, he made a mistake in the lyrics. There were hecklers who wouldn't let it go. McGraw had had enough. Singing no more, he leaped from the stage and faced them directly. The moment was captured on video. Some admired that he defended himself, while others felt he overreacted. When a female fan grabbed McGraw's crotch during a performance, it was the most awkward moment. Faith Hill, his wife, was among the spectators. By calling the woman out from the stage, she made it plain that such behavior would not be accepted. These incidents influenced McGraw's standing. He was no ordinary country music star. He was an assertive person. Whether it was to defend himself or to break up a brawl. Although his harshness was revered by some admirers, others felt that he occasionally lost his temper too easily. But he didn't have his biggest altercation with a fan. He did it with his own label. He had been with Curb Records for nearly 20 years by 2011, and things had soured. He was accused by Curb of breaching his contract by releasing his album Emotional Traffic ahead of schedule. They stated that he was expected to wait a minimum of 18 months between releases. McGraw struggled back. Curb was intentionally prolonging things, he claimed, by putting out too many greatest hits albums to keep him bound by his contract. He further claimed that they were subjecting him to involuntary slavery, treating him like a prisoner. For years, the legal battle continued. In November 2011, McGraw won his case in a Tennessee court. While he waited for the matter to be settled, he was allowed to record new music. He wasted no time at all. He signed with the same label that helped launch Taylor Swift's career, Big Machine Records, in May 2012. In 2013, he released 2 Lanes of Freedom, his debut album with them. Curb was determined not to give up. They continued to argue, arguing that they were still the owners of McGraw's recordings. Courts, however, continued to rule in his favor. The legal dispute was resolved by the end of 2013. McGraw triumphed. More than only his career was altered by the case. The issue of how much influence record labels should have over artists was brought up.